What's up, everyone? Welcome in to the Front Yard Fantasy Hour presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Joey Wright. What's up, boys?
What's up? So this is like our second show together today?
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's like a family. This is beautiful.
Joey, me and you are going to hit round 3 right after this as well. Guys, joining us today, we have a very special guest, great friend of the show. Tera Victoria is on with us. You can find her on Twitter at It's Tera Time. And you really should right now go find her on Twitter if you haven't done that already. Tera is a contributor over at Fantasy Football Today, footballdiehards.com, Fantasy Pros, Fantasy Alarm, Stochastic, and with Dynasty Vipers. And Tera, we are so happy to have you on here with us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Go Tigers. We got to get the Go Tigers.
Tera's FYF fam.
FYF fam, Clemson fam. We got to represent on the FanDuel show. Guys, today we brought Tera here to play some Fantasy Fortune. But before we do that, I already see we got a question in the chat. Ooh. So everybody watching, if you've got fantasy football questions for us, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're going to be playing a game today, but we'll be answering them in between rounds. And any we don't get to, great news. Joey and I are going to be live right after this with our friend Ladarius Brown, doing nothing but answering your questions for fantasy football office hours. You guys want to hit one of these questions real quick? Start the show off with a question from Born to Laugh. He said, Stafford, Mariota, Dalton, or Heineke, start 2. So we need to start 2 of these quarterbacks. Tera, which 2 of these quarterbacks would you be throwing into your lineup this week?
I've been so anti-Stafford, but of this grouping, I feel like he's the most stable option. So you have to go there. And then Heineke. I do like Heineke is a deep option this week.
What about you, Joey? Are you agreeing with Taylor here that it's Stafford, or Tera that it's Stafford and Heineke?
I wholeheartedly agree with Hunter Heineke. I would just start Mariota over Stafford. With that rushing upside, and I've got burned on Stafford a lot this year.
What about you, JL?
Yeah, I'm with Joey. I don't know. I'm enthralled with Mariota this week for whatever reason. Going against the Chargers, I think he'll have a good week.
Man, it's Mariota for me, but I think I lean Stafford on the second one. Like, I think I'm going Mariota and Stafford and putting Heineke on the bench against Minnesota this week. But it seems like a near consensus on Heineke and a near consensus on Stafford or Mariota. Yeah. The split right down the middle right there. Hopefully we were a little bit helpful. Born to Laugh. We got Dame in the chat saying, howdy, Dame. Welcome in.
Partner. Hi, Dame.
And DJ with it's time. It's Tera time. What's up, DJ? Welcome in. And Craig, hello. Craig said, what a terrific way to end the day. End the day.
Whoa, Craig.
Craig's going to bed early tonight. He said, I don't want to watch this Eagles game. And Dame wants to know, is Brandon Cooks droppable? So we got news that Brandon Cooks will not be playing tonight. He sent out the tweet saying that they crossed the line when they messed with his career. He's done covering up their secrets. It sounds like there's some serious bad blood between Cooks and the Texans. Tera, what do you make of this situation? Are you ready to drop Brandon Cooks, or are you holding on a little longer?
You got to hold a little longer. I've got a bad feeling this is Deshaun 2.0 in terms of the holdout situation. He loved Easterby, like legitimately. So yeah, see if Houston can figure out how to rectify it real quick. But otherwise, yeah, maybe 2 weeks and then it's gone.
That's exactly where I'm sitting. What about you, JL?
Yeah, I think just unless you're dropping him for somebody who has that same level of upside, where if he does end up getting cut or they do end up figuring out, like, he's going to be able to, if he has that upside that he can be plugged in, then I'm fine dropping him, because I don't think that Brandon Cooks is going to return the value that for where you drafted him, given his situation now. But I don't think he's just droppable in the sense of drop him for nothing.
Yeah.
Just wait and see.
If it's I know there's 6 teams on bye this week, and if you've got 3 starting wide receivers out and you have to make room to get someone in, I do think he's droppable. But I'm with you, Tera. I'm trying to hold if I can. If I can hold for 2 weeks and just see how this resolves, he's just too startable of a fantasy asset to just throw on the waiver wire whenever he does play.
Is it possible he could get cut and then go to, and we just saw today that they said Michael Thomas is not going to be back all season. Could he just go to the Saints, or is there other stuff standing in the way of that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about like any of the situation around being on a new team. I'd have to look into that a little bit. Do either of you guys have any insight on that?
No, again, I'd have to look at the contract situation. That's the only problem.
We would have to check that out. Guys, before we get started with our game today, a couple reminders. If you're joining us over on Facebook, welcome in, and make sure you hit that like button for us. And if you're on YouTube, do the same thing. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to FanDuel on YouTube. After you do that, FanDuel has a whole team of killer content creators helping you guys win some money and win your leagues. You can find them on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at FanDuel everywhere. So make sure you go type that in, follow them across their socials, and win some of your leagues coming up. Guys, you ready for some Fantasy Fortune?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. I'm going to explain the rules, and then we are going to get started with today's game. The game Fantasy Fortune is a lot like the popular TV show Wheel of Fortune, but with a fantasy or NFL twist. Instead of spinning a wheel to start each round, contestants will be answering 50-50 NFL or fantasy-related trivia questions. Get the question right, you get to guess a consonant that you think is in the puzzle. For every instance of the consonant that shows up, you're going to add $500 to your round bank. You'll be able to do this up to 3 times in a row if you keep on getting them correct. Though after that third time, we will move on to the next contestant. You've got 5 seconds to solve before we do that. But the good news is, if you get all 3 questions right and all 3 consonants, we're going to move that money from your round bank to your total bank. You're going to go ahead and bank all of that, and we'll move on to the next person. During your turn, there are 2 additional things you can do besides answering questions and solving letters. At any point, except after a question has been asked, you can solve the puzzle. You can solve it with no letters up there. You're going to earn a minimum of $1,000, not $1,000 plus whatever's in your round bank. So if you've got $2,000 in there, you're just putting $2,000 down, but a minimum of $1,000. You can also choose to buy a vowel at any point. Vowels are going to cost $100 up to a max of $500, depending on how many of them show up. We'll cap it at $500, but that's going to mean you have to have at least $500 in your round bank to say that you want to buy a vowel. If you've got less than that, no vowels for you. We'll go like this, solving puzzles, answering questions until we run out of time or run out of puzzles, at which point the contestant with the most points, the most money banked, will be our Fantasy Fortune champion and is going home with a sick prize in Cole's cash. You guys ready?
Yep.
I while you were going over the rules, I did look up Brandon Cook's contract. I'm not an expert on how the contracts work and the cap save and all that, but his dead cap, he signed a 2-year, $39.7 million deal with $16 million signing bonus of $36 million guaranteed. The dead cap this year is $43.5 million. The dead cap next year is $34.2 million. Seems very high, and they front loaded his salary. They paid him $1.1 million this year, and the next year's $18 million. So I don't know if there's a way out of it. There is a potential out in 2024, but I don't know. It seems like that's a huge dead cap hit.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rough. Again, I don't know how any of that works. Maybe there's something we're missing. Know what I mean? Like maybe there's a clause in there, some additional detail. But Dale, if it is just the way like those numbers break down, that seems like a borderline impossibility for them, right? Like it seems highly unlikely.
Wow.
Yeah. It seems unfortunate that this is breaking down in the first year of this contract.
Yeah.
Guys, before we get into this game, we had a couple questions in here. Born to Laugh with a question, and I also saw DJ in here with a question asking Bandy or Dorsett. So we're probably hitting both of those with this.
Okay.
Born to Laugh asked Philip Dorsett, Marquez Callaway, or Michael Bandy in a half PPR league. Joey, which of these wide receivers would you be plugging into your flex?
It's going to be Dorsett for me. Without Brandon Cooks on the field tonight, he seems like he's the wide receiver 1 for the for the Texans. That's a statement right there, isn't it? But yeah, it would be Dorsett for me out of these 3.
What about you, Tara? Do you agree with Joey, or are you rolling with one of these other guys?
Yeah, I would prefer Dorsett. I mean, I didn't even think. I mean, if I were going with the Saint, I think I would lean to Rashid Shaheed over Marquez Callaway as having a little bit more upside. So yeah, go with Dorsett.
Go with Dorsett. Jail, you agree?
Yeah, I don't love Dorsett with the Philadelphia secondary, but Marquez Callaway is going against Baltimore, and so it's a little interesting. But I don't think that matchup is as enticing as it seems. So I'll go Dorsett as well. It is close though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to say Bandy, but I just couldn't do it. I can't throw Bandy into that lineup. Like, I understand the temptation, but throw Philip Dorsett in there. Yeah. One more question before we get started. XM wanted to know, should I trade away Dameon Pierce, Josh Palmer, and Allen Robinson to receive Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, and Darrell Henderson? They're 3 and 5. So, Tara, do you like this trade for them, or would you be staying put?
Let's see. Did they say what the other running backs were? Mixon. Yeah. you need one more running back to make that trade. That's a fine trade as long as you have one more person to back up Mixon and Kamara.
Joey, what about you? Are you agreeing with Terry here?
Yeah. I don't like letting, because we all know how I feel about Dameon Pierce. Like he's my boy, owner of my heart. But I think I would have to cut him.
Owner of my heart.
He is. I'll fill you. I finally got him from my father-in-law last night.
Traded for him?
Yeah, he finally traded me for him, and I didn't even initiate the trade. My father-in-law did. So the 9-week battle is over. I finally got him on my team.
I don't feel strongly about either side of this, except Dameon Pierce is the player I want out of this trade. I feel like Jacoby Myers and even Chris Olave are semi-replaceable. I'd just rather keep Dameon.
Yeah, I think maybe if you were cashing in a little bit higher on Palmer with his perceived value with Mike Williams out, then I might be cool with this. But I would love to see a wide receiver that was like a true upgrade to your starters. Know what I mean? Like instead of Olave and Jacoby Myers, if this was just one wide receiver, a tier higher plus Henderson, I might be a little bit more willing to make this move. But it feels like Palmer, A-Rob to Olave, Myers. You're upgrading a little bit with each of those guys, but I don't feel like it strongly improves your starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you, Simon.
You guys ready to get into this first puzzle?
Yep.
Yes.
Remember all the rules that I just told you about how puzzles work?
Throw them out.
Throw them out the window because this first puzzle is a toss-up. So how this is going to work, there's no questions. It's nobody's turn. I am going to slowly reveal letters. And whenever you think you know the answer, say your name. If you get it right, you will get $500 and get to go first on our first real puzzle. But if you guess it wrong, you're out for this round. It'll just be the other two contestants left. You can buzz in at any point. No letters, all the letters. Just you got to be first. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Let's do it. Load up this puzzle. Our first puzzle is an NFL player. I'm going to start revealing letters. When you think you know it, say your name.
JL.
Okay, JL. Who is this player?
George Pickens.
It is George Pickens, JL. That is 100% correct.
I'm not gonna lie. When I said my own name, I was pretty sure it was George Kittle. And now I see that does not even fit. So thank goodness that I waited a half a second.
I clicked just in time to get that.
Just in time to see the end. I was like, oh no.
If you would have said JL like a split second earlier, you would have not seen the end.
Probably if you go back, just read it all over my face.
Jill, but you are going to add $500 to your bank.
Yep.
Angel get to go first. But before we moved past George Pickens, I did want to ask you guys about his fantasy value after this Chase Claypool trade. Tara, are you viewing this as a big upgrade for George Pickens, or is his value staying relatively stagnant now that Claypool is no longer a factor in this offense?
Medium upgrade. I think it'll be spread out between all of them, but I do like it more so for Pickens and Freiermuth. I really like this for Freiermuth as well.
Freiermuth, man, this move is exciting for him because he was already a pretty decent tight end in that tight end glob, and I feel like this puts him in another category.
Yeah.
Joey, how do you feel about Mr. Pickens? Do you think he has a little bit more fantasy relevancy this year with Claypool out of town?
Absolutely. I completely agree with Tara. Like in my mind, this was when I saw Claypool go was a Freiermuth trade. I was so excited for Pat, and because I know him personally, so I'll call him Pat. You know,
of course. Right, truck.
But no, I completely agree with Tara. Like, absolutely.
Chase Claypool 70.5% target share in this offense this season.
Did you say 70?
17.5.
Oh, I was like, that is wrong. Whatever number you're looking at. You said 70. I was like, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say he didn't get 70% of the target.
Talk about vacated targets. My goodness.
And it's been pretty aggressive over the last 4 weeks. He's averaged 7.5 targets per game. So this is there's a lot to spread out over these other guys.
Yeah. Decent amount of work.
JL, that's going to add $500 to your total bank, and you're going to get to go first in this next round, which means right after you will be Tara, and then Joey, you've got the spot of going third for this game.
Congratulations.
Before we get into our next puzzle, let's hit some of these questions we got in the chat.
Okay.
And a reminder for everyone watching, we're going to hit as many of these questions as we can throughout the show. But if we don't get to your question right after this on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube channel, Joey and I will be live with our friend Ladarius Brown doing nothing but answering your questions during office hours. So bring any more you got over there. But first, we got Trey in here.
Hey, Trey.
Said full PPR, start one, A.J. Dillon, Kyle Pitts, or Devonta Smith. He's worried that the Eagles just run it down the Texans tonight. Tara, which of these three players would you be starting?
Devonta Smith. I mean, it is a good matchup for Miles Sanders, but it's Jalen Hurts. They're not going to abandon the pass. So yeah, still go with Devonta Smith.
Joey, you said on the morning show this morning that you just got a feeling it's a Devonta
Yeah.
Smith game. So are you going that way here?
I am, and I think this is a Miles Sanders game, but I think in the passing game, I think Devonta Smith is going to get some work tonight just to kind of make up for last week. Because AJ Brown decided to just catch everything, take all the touchdowns, and it was very selfish. So I think Devonta Smith's owed some stuff tonight.
Against the Texans, they can share a little bit, right?
Exactly.
They can share against the Texans, just right some wrongs. JL, are you agreeing with these guys? Is it Devonta Smith for you?
Absolutely. I can't see the logic in throwing and getting AJ Brown heavily used in this game, which I don't think is going to be a competitive game when they're staring down a pretty competitive playoff berth here.
Exactly.
14-point favorites are the Eagles tonight. 14-point favorites over there on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And somehow it still doesn't feel like enough, right? Like it's 14 points and I'm sitting there going like, I don't see it. I just don't see how the Texans even come within 2 scores of them. Z Money talking about some more players playing in tonight's game. Wants to know Dameon Pierce or Chris Olave. Joey, you're our resident Pierce lover. Are you starting him over Chris Olave?
I am not starting him over Chris Olave. I will be starting Chris Olave against the Baltimore Ravens, and that hurts me to say. I love that our chat makes me say these things over and over again to say mean things about Dameon Pierce. But you're local with him, though, aren't you? Yeah. Like that.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I'm in Houston, but I am on the Olave side. I'm an Olave truther. Came in hot and heavy with Olave this season.
Hey, it's working out.
Yeah.
He's had some pretty big games so
call.
far.
Yeah.
JL, are you going Pierce or Olave? Are you agreeing with Joey and Tara?
I'm gonna go. They're very close to me. I'm gonna throw a vote towards Pierce because I think Houston's gonna really struggle in the pass game. I think they're gonna have to lean on Damian Harris. Chris Olave, I think that, like I mentioned earlier, the Baltimore defense has looked much better later on in the season. So I'm not as enticed by this matchup for him.
Absolutely. And Trey in here just reminding us, MT to the IR, Olave should feast. Absolutely.
And they are very close in my ranking. So this isn't I'm not saying it's a massive gap, but I lean one way.
Yeah. I will say, though, people should not be afraid of Pierce in this matchup. People are kind of getting a little like, do I sit him? No, don't.
Yeah.
The Eagles' run defense is good.
They're fine.
But they're not the best in the league. Know what I mean? Like JL, you mentioned this morning, they're
15.
like top third, right? Or
Yeah,
around
15.
15.
Yep.
Okay. So they're a little bit better than half the teams in the league run defense wise. You shouldn't be too scared off of that.
Yeah. And they're very good in the other areas. So, it should be.
I thought teams have to
be,
attack them.
Yeah, it should be. It makes sense to think that they're going to use them.
I'm not saying that I'm glad that all this stuff's going on with Brandon Cooks. I'm just going to say that I'm relieved that I don't have to start him tonight against the Eagles.
Yeah. Guys, we're about to get into our next puzzle. For everybody watching, play along with us in the chat. If you think you know the answer to the puzzles, throw it in there. If you're right, we'll shout you out. If you're wrong, we will mock you relentlessly. But it is all part of the fun. So make sure you're playing along. And with that reminder, contestants, make sure when the next puzzle's up, you guys are in the private chat, not in the comments. So you're not seeing all the people in the chat with the right answer before you guys have it inevitably.
Somebody put Scampers back in his kennel, in his little crate. That was rude.
Is this Dameon Pierce more than Joey? You heard it here, folks.
Can't argue with the facts, Joey.
You can
argue with the facts. I can confirm.
No, the trade I made last night was DeAndre Hopkins and Greg Dulcich for Chris Olave and Dameon Pierce. So I gave up D-Hop, who I love. I love D-Hop.
So brave of you to give up D-Hop for Dameon Pierce and Chris Olave.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well for you. Guys, here is your next puzzle, and this puzzle is rhyme time. Some examples of one we've done in the past are drinking soda with Marcus Mariota, playing clarinet with Jacoby Brissett. So it's probably going to follow a similar pattern. So those are ones we've done in the past. That's all the clues I'm going to give you on this, just so you guys know how it works. And we're going to get started. JL, you got that last puzzle right, which means you are going to get to go first. Would you like to solve this puzzle, or would you like your first question?
I need a question.
Okay. My question for you, JL, we're going to start with some season-long PPR fantasy points. Okay. So all my fantasy point questions will be in PPR, and this is up to this point in the season. Who has more PPR fantasy points through 8 weeks? Who has more PPR fantasy points through 8 weeks? Is it Christian Kirk or is it Jerry Jeudy?
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk is absolutely correct, JL. Which letter would you like?
I will take an R.
An R. There are
R.
2 R's in this puzzle, giving you
R.
$1,000 in your round bank. Round 2,
Nice.
Jail. You can solve, you can buy a vowel, or you can take your next question.
I'll take another question. Let's keep it rolling.
Another question. Dale, who has more PPR fantasy points up to this point in the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points? Is it Miles Sanders or is it Ezekiel Elliott?
Ooh. I'll go with Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders is correct, JL. Both of them having played in 7 games so far. Which letter would you like?
I'll go with an N, please.
An N. There's 1 N in this puzzle. Going to add 1,500. This will be your last opportunity to buy vowels on this turn if you would like to do so, or we can roll into your third and final question.
I'll take another question.
Another question. Also, Grim Fan killing it in the chat on the trivia, playing along with the trivia
Really?
as well, getting both questions right so far. Okay, JL, here's my question for you. Another PPR fantasy points question. Who has more PPR fantasy points so far this season? Who has more PPR fantasy points so far this season? Is it Rondale Moore or is it Josh Reynolds?
No, I don't want to say it, but I want to say it. I can't say it. Rondale Moore.
I'm sorry, JL.
Damn
It is
it,
Josh
I knew it.
Reynolds. He's got the 2 extra games on him, pushing him over the edge. I thought you would see through that right away.
I did see through it right away, but then I couldn't help myself. Didn't you watch the whole thing happen?
I did. I was there. Dale, unfortunately, that means your turn is over. You're not banking this money yet, but we might get back to you. Tara, it is now your turn. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Oh, I'm going to take a question.
Okay, we're going to stick with some PPR fantasy points. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Is it Tyler Lockett or is it DJ Moore?
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
Let's do S.
An S. There is 1 S in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel or go on to your next question? Or
New
solve?
question.
Okay, here's your next question. We're going to stick with some PPR fantasy points. Who has more PPR fantasy points through 8 weeks? Is it Dalvin Cook or is it Najee Harris?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
L.
An L. There are no L's in this puzzle. I'm sorry, Tara. That means Joey, you are up.
Ask for the L. You got the L there.
Oh, I did.
You got the L. Joey, you want a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
I would like a question, please.
A question. Okay, Joey, we're going to stick with PPR fantasy points.
Thank you.
Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points? Is it Raheem Mostert or is it Melvin Gordon?
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert is correct. Which letter would you like, Joey?
T.
T. There are 3 T's in this
Ooh, I
puzzle.
should have said T.
1 second, guys. Somebody stall for a moment.
Hello.
There's nothing wrong with this puzzle that I just realized. Let's
Did you just mess it up?
no, nothing's messed up yet. Luckily, well, actually, something is very messed up because I realized there should have been an L in this puzzle.
Oh no!
As she said it, I realized that there is an L missing.
This is
in
becoming
this
a
puzzle.
pattern, Simon.
So
You're trying
something
to
is-
sabotage our
I
guest.
know. I'm just
So
trying
what-
to sabotage the guests over and over again.
What happens? It goes back to her.
It's going to go
obviously.
back to Tara. Joey, we'll give you the money for getting those.
Can I have the money?
You can have the money.
Is everybody
We're just
cool
gonna
with
go
that?
back to Tara. We're going to give Tara her money for the L.
This is
as
real
well.
money, so I just want to make sure everyone's cool with me getting the money.
There goes all
Okay.
my Cole's Christmas
Okay.
gifts.
Yeah.
Let's see. 1 second. And I will get this fixed for you guys.
I can't even look in the chat, Simon. You got us stuck.
Stall.
Tara, Clemson ranked number 4. You think let's real talk here. You think Clemson can win the championship? Do you think that they're good enough to do it this year? Because I'm not so sure.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm encouraged by the positive direction, but we've got a lot of question marks on defense that make me very apprehensive that we can pull it together against some of those fantastic offenses that are out there. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah, I feel
But
the
I'm
same way.
encouraged. I feel good though. I feel like we're on the
After
right
last season,
path. Yeah.
yeah, this season is good. DJ has looked great. He's taking a step up.
Yeah.
Cade Klubnik. Ooh, I'm ready.
Yes. The future
Okay.
is bright.
Yes.
We got it all fixed now. Nothing was ever wrong. Sorry about that. Even though nothing happened at all. Tara, we are going to come back to you now, though. There was an L in this puzzle all along. I just hid it from you guys. So, Tara, you got your question right. You got your letter right, which means you can either choose to take another question, or you can solve this puzzle, or you can buy a vowel.
We're going to do a question.
A question. Also, Damon here, 0 days without incident.
0 days.
Yeah. Someone erased the whiteboard.
It was only at like 2 days. So,
okay. Your next question, Tara, is who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Is it Cortland Sutton or is it Curtis Samuel?
Sutton.
I'm sorry. It is Curtis Samuel with 101.6 to Cortland Sutton's 88.2. Sutton had a hot start, but it's been
Samuel missed time.
Man,
That's crazy. He still got it done, though.
crazy.
Joey, that means we're back to you now. Would you like to solve this puzzle? Would you like to buy a vowel? Or would
I
you
was
like
going to ask if I can buy a vowel.
You can buy a vowel. You got the money.
Okay. I'd like to buy an I, please.
An I. There are two I's
that
in
didn't
this
help
puzzle.
me at all. I knew
Gonna
those
subtract
were
it.
there. Yeah. I like what you did there, Simon.
Yeah,
Let's-
I actually added 2,000 instead of subtracting 200.
I have just been informed by a trusted source that, Simon, you may have forgotten an M that was in this puzzle towards the end of the first word.
No?
From previous.
Oh, someone did guess the M. Is that what you're... Oh, there was no M in this puzzle, so I just gave a free letter away to you guys.
All right, well, I'll go fire Maria.
There is no M in this puzzle, and everything else is spelled correctly. I double confirmed, so we are good to go. Erase it back to 0. 0 minutes without an incident.
0 minutes. It went from days to minutes.
I'd like to buy an E.
Joey, what would you like to do here?
Buy an E.
Buy an E. There are 2 E's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200 more. You still got money to buy vowels if you would like to, or you can take a question.
I feel like I know the name. I'm going to take a question, I guess.
And Joey, here's what we're going to do. Since you already earned 1,500, you're going to get 2 more questions. You've just already done your first question.
I was going to say that
just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. So this is question number 2 for you,
Question
Joey.
number 2.
Question
she
number
said
2.
N. She said N, not M.
Well, there was an N. You're right. And I remember somebody guessed that N. So we will put that up there. Well, Dale, now it's your fault on the incident with the N instead of the M.
Listen,
Joey,
I'm just trying to play the game.
Your next question, Joey. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Is it Romeo Dobbs or is it Devin Duvernay?
Devin Duvernay.
Devin Duvernay is correct. Which letter would you like?
H.
An H. There is 1 H in this puzzle. Going to add 500 to your score. You've got 1 more round, Joey. So this is your last opportunity to buy more vowels if you would like to do so.
I'd like to buy an O.
An O. There's 1 O.
I knew that O was there. Okay.
Would you like to buy another vowel, or would you like to take your last question?
No, because I'll get that vowel wrong, and then I won't get it. It'll be really embarrassing. So I'll just take another question, please.
Okay, Joey. Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Is it Ramondre Stevenson or is it Damian Pierce?
Oh man, Simon, you're a jerk. Damian Pierce.
I'm sorry. It was Ramondre Stevenson. He's got the extra game, but also he's outscoring him on a points per game basis as well. But Ramondre Stevenson is the number 7 overall PPR running back right now. Number 7 overall PPR running back, which means JL, we are on to you. What would you like to do here?
I have money. Do I go? I guess I will buy a vowel. I'll buy an.
I'm sorry,
yes.
Go ahead.
I'll buy an A.
An A?
A. Hey.
There are no A's in this puzzle, which means we are
Wow.
moving on to
Stupid
Tara.
puzzle.
Okay.
The chat's got it. Someone in the chat has already figured it out.
Wow.
Tara, would you like a question? Would you like to solve, or would you like to buy a vowel?
Yeah, a question.
A question.
Don't go with a vowel. It's a trap.
Hey, not anymore, because it would say no more vowels if there were no more, and there's only one sitting left up there. Your question, Tara, is who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks? Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks? Is it Brandon Ayuk or is it Deontay Johnson?
Oh my God.
Ayuk.
It is Brandon Ayuk. That is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like?
G.
G. There's one G in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Your options are the same. You can solve, you can buy a vowel, or you can take another question.
Let's buy that U.
Buying the U. There are 2 U's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200. So you can solve, or you can take your next question.
That's actually a good one.
I'm clearly dumb.
I'm dumb too. Don't worry.
Let's take my next question.
Another question. Here we go. Who
Oh,
has more?
I got it.
Damn it.
So Tara,
Oh,
now
no,
you
I know that. Oh,
you already asked for the next question,
Okay,
so
yeah,
I'm gonna
okay.
ask it. I'm gonna ask
yes.
it.
You got it.
But if you get it right, then you'll get to solve this puzzle.
Yep.
Who has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? Who has more PPR fantasy points? Is it Michael Pittman Jr. or is it Jerry Jeudy?
Michael Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman Jr. is absolutely
Nice.
correct. Tara, which letter would you like?
F.
An F. There is
Smart.
one F in this puzzle. Going to add 500. Would you like to solve this puzzle?
I realize I might not know the first word.
We can take your third question here
Yeah,
if you'd like to do so.
let's take a question here.
Okay, your third question. Here we go. Which of these players has more PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks of the season? More PPR fantasy points through the first 8 weeks. Is it Jamal Williams or is it Devin Singletary?
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is 100% right. Which letter would you like, Tara?
Why?
A Y. There are 3 Y's in this puzzle. Going to add
Nice.
1,500. So whatever the decision was to go
Why
for that,
was
it
this
added a
so
lot more
smart?
money
Yeah.
into your bank. What would you like to do here, Terry? You've got 5 seconds to solve it if you want to do so. Otherwise, we're just banking this money.
I am going to solve it studying Freud with Tyler Boyd.
Nailed it.
It is Studying Freud with Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is an academic, and he loves learning about
Studying got
psychology.
me. For whatever reason, I
Studying
couldn't
same.
get to studying.
She's got a good poker face because I wasn't sure that she had it even with the Y's. I was like, oh man, does she still not know? Because she didn't look like she did, but she did. She knew.
Oh, she knew. And she's going to bank that $3,300
Congratulations.
right there. Going out to a big lead. Shout out Mr. Scampers for getting this one.
Nice.
Good job,
6
Scampers.
minutes ago. Mr. Scampers got it with very few letters there on
They're
the
smart.
board. And Grimfan was very close as well with Starting Freud
That would be good. If you
with
could
Tyler
start,
Boyd.
if you could start Freud in your format, go for it.
Mhm.
Nice. I thought it was stumping, and I was like, wait, there's no M.
Yeah, that first word really got me. Good puzzle, Simon.
Also,
was
DJ came in here and said, put your thinking caps on, guys. That's your clue. Nice job. And Maria with the well done, Tara. Very well done. Tara, before we move on to the next puzzle, I did want to ask you about Tyler Boyd now that Jamar Chase is going to miss time. Does this elevate him to an every week start in your mind?
Oh, 100%. I think he's a solid wide receiver too now. I'm rolling him out every single week. I've got a team with him and Higgins, and hopefully it pays off a little bit better than last week. But yeah, he's solid. I like it.
Absolutely. I'm excited for Tyler Boyd over the next couple weeks. And even when Jamar Chase is playing, he's startable in certain situations.
Yeah.
We did have some questions in the chat,
Okay.
guys. Grim fan came in here and wanted to know Damian Harris, Khalil Herbert, Raheem Mostert, or Brian Robinson. Full PPR. Choose 2. Joey, which 2 of these running backs would you be throwing into your starting lineup?
Raheem Mostert's the one that's like pretty easy for me to say, okay, yeah, that one. So Raheem Mostert, like the matchup for him this week. And then it gets a little tricky because both of the rest of the 3 of them are almost, if you think about it, the RB2s on their team the last few weeks. I hate to say that about Brian Robinson, but Gibson's been out playing him. I'll go Mostert and Herbert. And I'm
Mostert
not
and
confident
Herbert.
in the Herbert. Yeah.
Same.
Yep.
I was going to say, I see some heads nodding around here. It looks like everyone's in agreement. Mostert and Herbert. Dr. Ryan, what's up, Dr. Ryan?
Hi,
Welcome
Dr.
in.
Ryan.
Dr. Ryan.
He said 10-team PPR. I'm 5-3. Just got an
Congratulations.
offer. I get Andrews and Godwin, give up Kelsey and Ayuk. Hesitant because I have Mahomes and Andrews may not play Sunday, followed by a bye. Ryan, if I'm you, there's no point in making this trade. Andrews and Kelsey are both the top 2 tight ends, but Kelsey's healthy right now. And then Godwin and Ayuk, maybe it's a slight upgrade at wide receiver, but you really just, to quote JJ Zacharyson, I think this is a little bit of musical chairs at that position, where you're just swapping players out. JL, how do you feel about this one?
I would take this trade just because I'm worried about Andrews.
It's the other side. They have
I
give
get
up
Andrews
Kelsey
and Godwin, then I would keep your side of the trade because you're taking on too much risk with Andrews. Godwin is absolutely an upgrade over Ayuk, but if Debo misses significant time, Ayuk still could be not that far off from Godwin. That might not be that much of a shift.
Joey, are you in agreement here?
I think if everyone listed in this trade was healthy, I think it's a slam dunk for me on the Andrews Godwin side. But that big question mark over Andrews is holding me up. So it's Kelsey and Ayuk for me. And I love Chris Godwin the rest of the season. Oh my goodness, do I love him.
Not convinced that Godwin is a huge upgrade over Ayuk, and that's not an anti-Godwin take. It's a pro-Ayuk take. Ayuk is on the field 100% of the time. He's always playing. He's the wide receiver 13 in PPR right now, and that's with Deebo Samuel playing. I think Brandon Ayuk is a high-end wide receiver 2, back-end wide receiver 1 at this season's end. So for me, it's a definite no. I value Ayuk a lot closer to Godwin, I think.
Okay.
Born to Laugh in here want to know, should I trade Mac Hollins for Zay Jones, half PPR? Tara, are you making this move?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of apples and oranges, but yeah, I would do that.
You would do that? Joe, what about you?
I would too. Zay Jones, I think, is both of these guys. I don't have a ton of upside. Zay Jones, to me, is a higher upside. I think he does have a role in this offense, even if it's not massive.
I think there's a little bit more consistency from Zay Jones in his role in that offense as well. Mac Hollins, it seems like incredibly difficult to predict unless everyone else is injured, right? Unless there's no Renfro Waller, then Hollins is going to blow up.
Yeah, Raiders is like you buy a car and then there's just no engine in it.
It really does feel like that. I thought they were going to be good this year. I was ready for a competitive Raiders team, and it just did not pan out. Guys, let's go ahead and load up this next puzzle. This next puzzle is a player TV show mashup. So examples we've had in the past are something like Tim, Patrick, and Morty was one we've had in the past. A movie one was Boston Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So we just jammed together a player name and a TV show, and that's our puzzle. Terry, you solved that last one, which means, Joey, you're going to get to go first on this one. Are you ready? Would you like to solve? Would you like a question?
Yeah, I would like a question, please. I can't solve this, Simon. You're a silly boy.
This is such a weird shape puzzle.
I know. The 2, 3, 2s get me
out.
at the end there. Yeah.
Joey, what I want to know is, who are the Miami Dolphins playing this weekend?
It's the Chicago Bears.
It is the Chicago Bears, Joey.
Whoa.
Which letter would you
nice
like?
One.
I know, because I like Raheem Mostert this week. That's why I remember that. I would like an S, please, Simon.
S. There are no S's in this puzzle. I'm sorry, Joey, which means Jail. We are moving on to you. Are you ready for your first question?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay, Jail. What I want to know from you is, who are the Minnesota Vikings playing this weekend?
The Vikings are playing Washington this weekend.
The Vikings are playing Washington this weekend. Which letter would you like, JL?
Oh, glad Joey cleared that S bomb out of the way. Don't want that. Let's go with a T.
That's what Leanne says every time I leave the restroom. I'm so glad you cleared that S bomb out of the way. Just got it out of there.
Is that Simon bomb?
No, shit bomb is what I was referring to, JL. Which letter would you like, JL? You said T?
T.
There are 3 T's in this puzzle.
I should have picked T.
Yeah.
Going to add 1,500 to your round bank. So you can buy a vowel here if you would like. You can solve, or you can take your next question.
May I buy an O?
You may buy an O. There are 2 O's in this puzzle. Going to subtract 200 from your round bank.
Not where I thought they were. I will take a question.
A question. Okay, JL, my question for you is who has more rushing yards so far on the season? Who has more rushing yards so far on the season? Is it Travis Etienne or is it Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Jeff Wilson.
I'm sorry, it is Travis Etienne with over 100 more rushing yards than Jeff Wilson
Trying to
Jr.
trick me.
I knew you would think I was trying to trick you. Tara, are you ready for your question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question.
Okay, my question for you is who are the Raiders playing this weekend?
The Raiders are playing Jacksonville.
The Raiders are playing Jacksonville. Which letter would you like, Tara?
N.
An N. And there are 4
Oh,
N's
wow.
in this.
All right.
You can add 2K to your round bank. You got all the money in the world now. Do you want to buy a vowel? Would you like to take another question or do you want to solve this puzzle?
I'm going to take another question.
Okay, my next question for you is who has more rushing yards so far on the season? Who has more rushing yards so far on the season? Is it Tony Pollard or is it Aaron Jones?
Tony Pollard.
I'm sorry, it is Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is currently number 5 in the league for rushing yards through the first 8 weeks of the season. Right? No, that I'm just saying that was crazy to me. That's one of the ones that I'm just like, that doesn't match with what I've seen on the field.
Yeah.
But he's up there. Joey, it is your turn.
I'd like to solve.
Damn it,
Okay.
I got it.
Benjamin to win it.
You butchered the pronunciation, Joey, but it is Benjamin to win it is the answer to this puzzle. Joey, that is going to
Where's
add
the
1,000.
TV show name?
What'd you say?
Where's the
Just
TV
solved
show
it.
name?
Minute to Win It. Minute to Win It is a TV game show.
Oh, I don't
I
like
would have
so
never got that.
close.
We've never got it.
Never would have gotten it. JL, you got that one. And we had some people in the chat. Dustin with Benjamin to win it. Nice job, Dustin, pulling that one through. Mr. Scampers had it as well. And Dame almost had it, but autocorrect.
Nice.
Autocorrect
Benjamin's
got the
a-
best of her.
Is a fun name for these mashups.
Yeah, he is getting used a lot.
Also, Scamper says, nailed it, Joey. Absolutely nailed it. Stuck the landing.
Sorry if I blew your speakers out, ladies and gentlemen.
Before we
Children.
move on, Tara, do you have any interest in Benjamin with James Conner coming back, or do you think he's earned a role in this offense?
I do. Yeah. He's been productive enough to where I don't think he's going to disappear. I think it'll be a split backfield. How much that'll be worth is a question, but he's still worth a roster.
Joey, I see you nodding your head. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mentioned last week that when the Cardinals did a split backfield with James Conner and Chase Edmonds last year, they started the season 7-1. They seemed to really work on that offense well with having 2 running backs. So I could really see them now that Eno's really shown up of giving them both work. So I like them both this season.
So Dr. Ryan in here saying thank you for answering. Of course,
You're
Dr.
welcome,
Ryan,
Dr.
thank you
Ryan.
for coming in with the
Yeah,
question.
thanks for asking. Great
Thanks for
question.
that topical cream. I appreciate that.
Guys, we're going to move on to our next puzzle. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, you do. Guys, this next puzzle is a NFL player movie mashup. We're going to stick with some of the mashups. So this is an NFL player movie mashup. Joey, you solved that last one, which means JL, you are going to get to go first in this round.
Good.
Reminder, out of the comments and into the private chat. JL, would you like to solve this or would you like your first question?
I need a question.
Okay. JL, what I want to know is who has more receiving yards so far on the year? Who has more receiving yards so far on the year? Is it A.J. Brown or is it T. Higgins?
AJ Brown.
It is A.J. Brown. Which letter would you like?
Let's go with a T.
A T. There are 2 T's in this puzzle. Going to add $1,000.
I will take another question.
Another question. Okay, Joe, my question for you, sticking with receiving yards, is who has more receiving yards so far on the season? Who has more receiving yards? Is it Deontay Johnson or is it DJ Moore?
Deontay Johnson.
I'm sorry, JL. It is DJ Moore with more receiving yards, which means, Tara, we are back to you. Would you like a question or would you like to solve this puzzle?
Question.
Okay, my question for you is who has more receiving yards so far on the season? Who has more receiving yards? Is it Christian Kirk or is it Deebo Samuel?
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk is absolutely correct. Which letter would you like, Tara?
N.
An N. There is one N in this whole puzzle.
Ooh,
that seems
man.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Kind of impressive. They found it.
Yeah. Go question.
Okay, another question. Who has more receiving yards so far this year? Who has more receiving yards? Is it DK Metcalf or is it Terry McLaurin?
DK.
I am sorry. It is Terry McLaurin with more receiving yards so far on the season. Which means, Joey, we're to you. Would you like to solve this puzzle?
No, I don't, but I really like it when the other people before me get a lot of letters and I just get to guess. That's just fun.
Yeah, we got so many letters.
I don't get to do that this time. So I'm going to answer a question.
Okay, here's my question for you, Joey. Who has more receiving yards so far on the season? Is it Amari Cooper or is it Brandon Ayuk?
Cooper.
It is Amari Cooper.
Is it?
Currently tied for number 10 in the league in receiving yards. Which letter would you like?
An H?
An H. There are two H's in this puzzle.
there's
Going to add 1,000 to your round bank. Would you like to buy a vowel? Would you like another question? Or
Yeah,
would you like
I want to buy a vowel. I want to buy an I.
an I. There is one I in this puzzle.
Give me a question. Give me questions.
He says, I'm done. I'm done buying vowels. Okay, your next question, Joey. This one is about receiving touchdowns. So what I want to know is who has more receiving touchdowns so far this year? Who has more receiving touchdowns? Is it Cooper Kupp or is it Mike Evans?
Mike Evans.
I'm sorry. It is Cooper Kupp with 5 to Mike Evans 3, which means JL, it is back to you. What are you going to do?
Like a
Buy
trap.
a vowel?
It seemed like a trap.
It was purposefully meant to look like a trap.
I'm going to take another question.
Another question. Okay, my question for you, JL, is who has more receiving touchdowns so far on the year? Who has more receiving touchdowns? Is it Amon-Ra St. Brown or is it Amari Cooper?
I don't know. Amari Cooper.
It is Amari Cooper with 5 to Amon-Ra St. Brown's 3. Which letter would you
Went
like?
the opposite of what I thought it was, and it works. Let's go with an S.
An S. There is one S in this puzzle. Man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Who made this puzzle? I don't count letters whenever I make the puzzles. I just make sure they're okay.
I know. PowerPoint literally tells you too. Let's go. I'll take another question.
Another question. Okay, JL, my question for you. We're going to go back to some receiving yards. It's who has more receiving yards so far on the season? Who has more receiving yards? Is it Zach Ertz or is it David Njoku?
Ertz.
I'm sorry. It is David Njoku with more receiving yards so far this year. Which, Tara, we're back to you. You can buy a vowel, you can take another question, or you can solve this puzzle.
Question.
Another question. Who has more receiving yards so far on the year, Tara? Who has more receiving yards? Is it Garrett Wilson or is it Drake London?
Garrett Wilson.
It is Garrett Wilson. Nice job. Which letter would you like?
L.
An L. There are 3.
All
That is going to
right.
add 1,500. Your options are the same. What would you like to do here?
Question.
Another question. Here we go. This question is going to be about rushing yards now. We're going to go back to some rushing yards. Who has more rushing yards so far on the season? Who has more rushing yards? Is it Taysom Hill or is it Justin Fields?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is absolutely correct. Thank God. Which letter would you like there?
D.
A D. There's one D in this puzzle. Going to add another 500. This is your last opportunity to buy vowels this round if you would like to do so, or we can move on to your final question. Last question. Remember, if you get this one right and get the letter on the board, you'll get to bank this money whether you solve the puzzle or not. Here is your last question. Who has more PPR fantasy points? We're going to go with rushing yards again. Who has more rushing yards so far this season? Who has more rushing yards? Is it Khalil Herbert or is it Najee Harris?
Najee.
I'm sorry. It is Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert is actually number 7 in the league for rushing yards right now. Absolutely
I would have
absurd.
gone Najee too because he's just been like fine. He hasn't been the worst. He's gotten like 12 points a game.
Yeah,
So
like
I would have thought it added up.
It's different. Najee getting 12 points a game, and then Khalil Herbert just throwing like 40 together. It is Joey's turn now. So Joey, would you like to solve this puzzle? Or would you like a question?
I know
or you can
all
buy
of
a
it
vowel.
except the top. Okay. I'm gonna buy some vowels.
Okay.
O.
There are 2 O's in this puzzle, Joey, subtracting 200 and leaving you with enough money to buy another vowel if you would like to do so.
I would like to buy a U.
A U. There is
What
one
is that
U
top
in this
word?
puzzle. Would you like to buy another vowel, Joey? Would you like your first question?
I mean,
or would
I'm
you like to
wasting
solve?
all my money to buy these dumb vowels. I would like a question because I want to try to get some money here. And
Okay,
the vowels didn't help me. I knew all that.
Okay, Joey, who has more rushing yards so far this season? Who has more rushing yards so far this season? Is it Austin Eckler or is it Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Who has more rushing yards?
Rushing yards.
Man, Austin Eckler.
I'm sorry, it is Jeff Wilson
I don't
Jr.
believe you.
with 468 rushing yards compared to Austin Eckler's 380. So Jeff Wilson Jr. does have more rushing yards so far this year, which means JL, we are on to you. Would you like another question? Would you like to solve or would you like to buy a vowel?
I will buy a vowel. I will buy an A.
An A. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 A's in this puzzle. I'm just going to subtract 500. That's our max. Would you like to solve? Would you like a question? I think Joey figured it out.
I got it. And I'm so mad.
I'll buy an E.
Buying an E, JL. There are 2 E's in this puzzle. Going to subtract another 200. That is all of the vowels. So now you either got to solve or take your question.
I will take another question.
Another question. Okay, JL, my question for you. My question for you is.
Oh, I got it.
You got to answer this question first. True or false, JL? True or false? The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-point favorites this week against the Carolina Panthers, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook.
I'm sorry. Say the number one more time. I'm too focused on answering it right.
True or false? The Cincinnati Bengals are 3-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers this week.
False.
That is absolutely false, JL. It is 7.5. Thought I might trick you on that one, but you got it right. Which letter would you like?
No way. Let's go. Ooh, what's the best one? I'll go with a C.
A C. There are 4 C's in this puzzle, JL. Going to give you $2,000. Would you like to solve? Would you like another question?
Oh, I think I need one more question to win. Oh, no. I'll take another question.
Oh, my God. I did not even realize we were sitting at the buzzer.
Wait.
You'll tie if you just
I'll tie
get this.
if I take it. All right, so I got to take the question then.
Okay, JL going for the win right here. JL, we are going to do one more receiving yards question. Get this right and get the letter. You win the game. Get it wrong. Tara is going to come away with the victory. My question for you, JL, is who has more receiving yards so far on the season? Who has more receiving yards? Is it Pat Freiermuth or is it Dallas Goedert?
Dallas Goedert.
It is Dallas Goedert, JL. Which letter would you like?
Y, please.
A Y. There are 3 Y's. Going to add
And I would like
1,500.
to solve
Go ahead and solve it, JL.
Ray McCloudy with a chance of meatballs.
It is Ray McCloudy with a chance of meatballs. Nice job, JL. Go Tigers.
Yeah.
Go Tigers. I was going to be so mad if I didn't get the Ray McCloud one.
I knew you would be. I put it in there, figured it out. We would have some Ray McCloud love on the stream today. Man, and Maria said, this is stressful. Come on, JL.
I was so stressed.
JL, you pulled it out. And with that, you are going to pull out the victory in today's game. Nice job.
We're the
Terry,
opponents.
You had to lead the whole time, Tara, and then JL just stole it from you at the end.
I'm sorry, Tara.
I mean, it's that new like goatee.
It's the
JL.
facial hair. It's
evil.
made me more evil
So
somehow.
evil.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Dustin for getting this one right.
Dustin.
About 9 minutes ago. Nice job, Dustin.
That's a good one,
pulling that
Simon. That's a good one.
There were 3 letters on the board whenever he pulled this one
Wow.
out. There was nothing on the board. Not 3 like different letters, like 3 total boxes filled whenever he got
I could
this one
see
correct.
if you saw the hyphens and your brain went to like that made sense. I was honestly not even thinking that was the player part. I didn't even think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hyphen definitely stowed off. But if you locked in on that as Ray McLeod, that would have solved that puzzle for you.
Yeah.
Tara,
how's it going?
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today. This was an absolute blast.
You're the best, Tara.
Always glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And everyone
Make sure
watching,
you follow Tara.
exactly. If you're not already following Tara, go and follow her right now on Twitter at It's Tara Time. The link should be right below in the description as well. So you can just click on it. You don't even have to go search it. Make sure you're following
Nice
her
and
over
easy.
there. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us today for the Front Yard Fantasy Hour. A reminder, Joey, myself, and our friend Ladarius Brown are going to be live right after this over on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy for Fantasy Football Office Hours, doing nothing but answering your questions for about the next hour. So head on over there or leave autoplay on, and this stream should redirect you in that direction.
Nice.
Until then, though, we are out of here. Congrats, JL. Thank you so much
Thank
again,
you.
Tara. And thank you, everybody who watched. We will see you in about 5 minutes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.